Welcome back to another episode of Plant-Based Dads. I'm Joey Troxel. First, I want to do a quick shout out to our financial supporters, PayPal and Patreon, and people just leave comments with cash in them. Thank you very much. Without you, we could not do the show. I'm a teacher. There's only so much of this I could do on my own. If you've ever thought about how I can be part of this, how I can help the show, you can do that by becoming a financial supporter. There's a link in the description below this video on how you can get started. There are some benefits. They get the episodes 2 days early. If you're on Patreon, you get them on commercial free, uninterrupted. I just post the whole video there before it goes to YouTube, and it's just there forever without any commercial. So that's kind of nice also. When I do get the ebook done, there will be a 50% discount for all of the Patreon and PayPal supporters. If I have your email on PayPal, if you do PayPal, make sure you give me your email, because otherwise I have no way to, I'll get your donation, but I won't have any way to contact you and put you on the early access list and any of that stuff. So if you've ever thought about being a financial supporter, that's how you do it. Link below the video. All right, so I am at the lowest weight and lowest body fat of my life right now. As you probably know, I'm doing this cut series where every day I'm showing you my weight, I'm showing my body fat, and I'm showing you what I'm doing to kind of work my way from, I think I started at 26 down to 20% body fat. I've had to learn over the last few years some things the hard way. I've believed so many things that I thought were going to be true, and they probably are for some people, but they may not be for anyone. One of them, for example, is just eat whole food plant-based. You can eat as much as you want, just eat starches and non-starches, eat whatever you want, go back for seconds, you'll be fine. That is just not true. So I'm going to talk to you about all of that. It is true if you burn 2,500 calories a day in maintenance, but if you're a little guy like me and your maintenance is like 1,500, then that's not going to work. So today I'm going to tell you 11 harsh truths I had to learn the hard way about getting in better shape. All right, let's start with number one. You have to be in a calorie deficit to lose weight. It doesn't really matter what diet you're doing. If you're doing vegan, if you're doing high protein, if you're doing no carbs, whatever, which is just absurd because your body runs on carbs, but there you go. You have to be in a calorie deficit. There's no way around that. So if your body burns 2,000 calories a day just to keep what it had, and I'll tell you how to do that, then you need to burn less than 2,000 calories a day if you want to lose weight. So standardly, people go in a 500 calorie deficit, and I'll explain all that. And that would mean you need to eat 1,500 calories or less to be in a 500 calorie deficit. That's how it works. It's very simple. All of this, hey, listen, just eat whole foods, right? You can eat as much as you want, just eat till you're satisfied, intuitive eating. You'll be fine. You will not lose weight on that if you're not in a calorie deficit. For instance, let's take potatoes. A potato's about 300 calories, right, for a large potatoes. On the starch solution, I would plow right through those, making those potato fries. So good, right? Okay, well, if I ate 5 of those potatoes at 300 calories each, which was easy to do because I'd eat like 3 of them in one sitting, 5 of them is 1,500 calories. I'm at my calories for the day if I'm trying to lose weight, if 2,000 calories is my maintenance and 1,500 calories is my deficit. 1,500 calories is not my deficit. It's way lower than that, which is why I didn't lose weight on that. But that's the example. So you can't, if I did that and 1,500 calories was my deficit weight, right, where I was trying to lose weight, I couldn't eat anything for the rest of the day. So, and that's whole food plant-based. That's not true. Whole food plant-based will not make you lose weight if you're not like everyone else. If you have a lower metabolism where you burn, less calories because you're short and you don't have much muscle because you're short. So you have to be in a calorie deficit. And I'm going to explain all that to you, but everything else you hear on the internet about just do this, just do that. I never count calories. I love that one. I don't count calories. I've had no problem. I just eat whole food plant-based. I know what I need to eat. Okay, that might work for you because you have a higher metabolism. It doesn't work for everyone. You have to be in a calorie deficit. If you're not in a calorie deficit, you're not losing weight. It's very easy. It's all math. That's it. Number 2, how do you know if you're in a calorie deficit? Well, you have to track your food and your energy. There's no other way around that either. You can stop doing that after you've done it for a while and you kind of understand, hey, listen, I eat the same thing every day. I already know how many calories are coming in now. Do I really need to track that? No, if you're doing the same thing every day, you probably don't once you've got down a routine. But until then, sure, you're gonna have to do that. So here's what you're gonna have to do. You gotta track your food. you need to figure out your total daily energy expenditure, your TDEE. And you can go to this website, I'll put a link down below. It's the TDEEcalculator.net, I want to say, but I'll put it on the screen and a link below, so you got it. And in there, you're going to put your height. You're going to put your weight. You're going to put how much activity that you do. Do you do none? Do you sit at a job all day at work, then come home and sit yourself down and watch TV and click, 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 and then you go to bed and lay down and there's really no activity? You're not walking, you're not going to the gym, you're not doing any type of strenuous work. If that's the case, then you've got no activity. Do you go to the gym 3 to 4 times a week? Do you do housework? You have a job where you're constantly standing up like me? Once you put all that in, you'll put your age, all that stuff. It's going to give you back a number based on your statistics on what your maintenance calories are. And these are the calories that you need to take in every day just to keep the weight you have without any extra effort. So, for instance, when I put that in, my maintenance calories is about 1,700 calories. I'm a little guy, I'm 5'1". I know that sounds low, but that's what it is, all right? So I don't really have a lot of place to put muscle, and muscle is one of the things that really helps you burn fat. That contributes to your metabolism, that helps. That's like 70% of your metabolism. And I don't have a lot of place to put muscle because I'm small. So 1,700 calories is my maintenance calories. If I eat 1,700 calories a day, regardless of what it is, if I eat 1,700 calories a day in Kit Kats, or if I eat 1,700 calories a day in watermelon, the same thing happens. I don't gain weight. I don't lose weight, I don't gain weight. That's my maintenance calories. That's how it works. Now, of course, I'm going to be a lot healthier eating the watermelon than the Kit Kats, but the point of this is, if you're trying to lose weight, or if you're not trying to lose weight, if you're just trying to stay where you are, maintenance for me is 1,700 calories. Well, I want to be in a calorie deficit. All right, well, most people who do a calorie deficit do, if they're trying to lose a pound a week, 500 calories less. So, and I'll tell you about why we do that in a minute. If I'm at 1,700 calories and I want to have a 500 calorie deficit each day, we'll do the math. 17 minus 500, 12. So I can't eat more than 1,200 calories a day. I know, people are going to be like, what? No, that's not normal. You can't do that. No one should eat less than 1,500 calories a day. That's not true. It all depends on your metabolism, on your maintenance. It all depends on your body makeup. It all depends on all of that. There is no number for everyone. You've been brainwashed and misled. If you're a little guy like me or a girl, right, then chances are your maintenance calories are pretty low because your body, like mine, is very efficient. It will do everything it needs to do on less than 1,700 calories a day, which is pretty scary. So the reason you choose 500 calories less than your maintenance calories is because one day of 500 calories less than your maintenance times 7 days for a week is 3,500 calories at the end of the week that you didn't eat. And it takes 3,500 calories burned to lose 1 pound of body fat. That's where that comes from. You can do the same thing having a 250 calorie deficit, but it'll take you 2 weeks to lose 1 pound of body fat. And some people are not in a hurry, and that's totally okay. So the standard is 500. You could do less, you could do 250, you can do 50 calories less. If your maintenance is 1,700 and you do 1,650 a day, you're still gonna lose weight. It's just gonna take you, 10 weeks or whatever to lose a pound. So that's how a deficit works. You have to be in a deficit to lose weight, and the way you do it is you figure out your numbers. You go to this website, you do the calculator, and it tells you what your total daily energy expenditure is, and then you'll click on, it'll give you maintenance, you'll click on cutting, and then it'll tell you what your cutting is. Again, without a calorie deficit, if you're trying to lose weight, it's not happening. The other thing is, if you're trying to gain weight, bless your heart, you've got a much better metabolism than I do. If you're trying to gain weight, you need to be eating above 1,700 calories. Bodybuilders trying to gain muscle, trying to gain mass, they're eating cleanly, right? High protein, low calories, a lot of veggies, but they're packing on protein and they're doing 500 over or 300 over or 200 over. So they need to live, if they're 1,700 calories for maintenance, they're eating 2,000 calories. They have 300 calories more a day to bulk up, to get bigger. So it works the same way. But if you don't know your maintenance, you're not going to be able to figure out whether you're in a deficit or a surplus. And that's important, otherwise just walking around blindly. That brings us to number 3. The harsh truth is, You have to track in a piece of software every single thing that goes into your mouth. So I know that my body needs about 1,200 calories in a deficit to lose weight. Otherwise, if I start getting closer to 17, the weight loss slows down, or I wind up not losing anything, or if I go over 17, I start gaining weight. How do I do this? Well, you use a calorie tracking app. I'm using Cronometer. I have no association with them. It's very simple. I'll put it on the screen right here. You track your food. You take your phone, you scan the food you're about to eat, the barcode, or you type, if it's a banana, it's got no barcode, you put in banana, you weigh the banana. You got to weigh everything, right? If it's not, doesn't have a barcode in it, you have to weigh it. And you put it in and it tells you, okay, here is a banana, you're eating 100 grams, that's 97 calories. Actually, it's about 85 calories or somewhere around there. It's 2 grams of protein, it's 11 carbohydrates, and it's 0 grams of fat. And it pops it in, and there's your meal for that meal. And you keep putting your stuff in. At the end of the day, you want to make sure you come up with whatever your deficit number is. Mine's 1,200. I want to make sure I don't go over 1,200. If it's 3 o'clock, I'm at 1,200, I'm done eating for the day. So I have to plan this so I get my meals and my calories throughout the day. Otherwise, I'm going to wind up without calories left. And there's not a lot of 0-calorie food to eat to keep you full, when you're out of calories. So you got to be very careful of that. If you don't track your food, you don't know if you're in a calorie deficit. You may be, you may not be, right? But you have to track, otherwise you're not going to know. Tracking your food the first time you do it is an eye-opener. Here's how I would start. I would forget about total daily energy expenditure. I'd forget about everything. I'd just say to myself, you know what? I'm just going to track everything I eat for 7 days. That's all. And I'm not going to worry about if I'm eating good food and if I'm eating bad food. I'm just going to eat what I normally eat every day. If I was at the beginning of this journey, just for 7 days. And at the end of 7 days, you're going to go back and look at everything you tracked every day, and it's going to be pretty scary. You need to track every bit of sauce that you put on anything you eat. If you're having a salad and it's all lettuce and that whole thing with the romaine and the apples in it and all that is 250 calories. And then you take Hidden Valley Ranch and you pour that on, and you don't track that. Meanwhile, that's 400 calories. You've just lost your calorie deficit. So you have to track every single thing. You have to put on the salad dressing. You got to track the nuts, and you do that by either taking the information off the package or by weighing it on a food scale. A food scale is very important when you're tracking calories, and it has to be in grams. I know people keep arguing with me online about, you're in the US, why do you use grams? It's cups. Be like everyone else. Cups and tablespoons are a measure of volume. They don't measure weight. Only grams does that. For instance, if you take a cup of oat flour, right, and that turns out to be 400 grams, and then you take a cup of nutritional yeast, which is like basically fish food, and that's like 150 grams. Those two things are both a cup, but they weigh different amounts. It's a different amount of food. You have to use grams. Get a scale, press it to grams, and that's what you have to use. It's the only way to be absolutely sure that you are getting the right amount if you're doing all this. If you do all of this, you're measuring your food and you're using cups and all that, you are wasting your time. And I'm sorry if you're in the US, you don't want to hear this, but that's the way it is. The rest of the world has figured this out, and we refuse to conform. And that's a problem we've had with many things. That's why we have our own measurements for everything. All right, harsh truth number 4. When you start losing weight, dieting, eating healthy, tracking, the first few days you're gonna be like, oh snap, I lost 2 pounds this week, right? Or I started on Monday, it's Thursday, I lost 2 pounds. I'll be done with this in about 4 weeks. Oh yeah, baby, right? That's not the way it works. There will be a lot of water retention, water release. Your weight will go up, your weight will go down. If you're following me on the cut, you'll see that. Like some days it's gravy and some days not so much, right? That happens because you're only actually losing a pound of body fat if you're burning 3,500 calories in a week. If you're down 2 pounds from yesterday, you did not lose 2 pounds. You lost water. You're retaining less water. So you have to be very careful about that, and that will start slowing down. You'll start releasing water in the beginning. Your body's like, oh, I'm getting a lot of water, I'm getting a lot of food, I don't need to hang on to it. It'll start releasing it, right? and you'll lose a pound, you'll lose 2 pounds, and this will be great. But then as you go on, it's not holding any water, so there's nothing to release. The true weight loss will be as you start burning the actual fat, the 3,500 calories every week or however long it takes. So it's going to slow down drastically. And you're not broken, nothing's changed. It's just that the water that was being shed in the beginning has stopped being shed because you're not retaining it anymore. That's it. Now you'll be in the grind. You're gonna have to grind every day and stick to your program and make sure that you have your calorie deficit and the fat will come off. All right, harsh truth number 5. Fat loss is all about calories. We just talked about how to do that. It's math, it's not magic, but it can get very discouraging. The last place is your belly. That fat's not going anywhere until all the fat in your arms is gone, all the fat in your chest is gone, all the fat in your legs is gone. It starts someplace and starts burning the fat in different places, and the very last place is your belly. So, and this, I can tell you, when I look in the mirror and I like start flexing and all that, my upper body, I'm looking like a monster, right? And then I'll throw on a tight shirt and see my belly and go, what the hell was I thinking? I can't wear this, I'm a fat ass, right? So the issue is that I'm burning fat in the rest of my body and it's looking good, but the belly is still there. And all that means is that I still have fat to burn. That's all it means. When that belly fat's gone, I truly am in a lower body fat because the rest of it has already happened. So don't look at your belly and be like, I'm 3 weeks in, my belly hasn't changed. You can't use your belly to measure that. That's the last place to burn fat. The good news is as you start seeing your belly go down, you'll know that you're nearing your goal. That'll be a sign that you're getting there because when the belly's starting to go down, the rest of the body has already burned up most of its fat. So, I mean, you can use that as an indicator for sure. All right, harsh truth I had to learn, number 6. Abs, six-pack abs, seeing your abs, is not done in the gym. It's done in the kitchen. So, and I just talked about this with the belly. Since the belly holds the fat the longest, you're not gonna see abs. Every day I'm at the gym, which was 3 to 4 days a week, I work out my abs, right? Doing the crunches and all that stuff. I know that I'm not gonna see them, right? My abs are not showing and they're not going to for a while. I'm too high in body fat. I'm at 24% body fat. When I get down to like 15, they're gonna look amazing. When that body fat's gone, my abs are ripped under there. But abs are not made in the gym. They're made in the kitchen. You can't really see them until your body fat is at a low enough percent. And unless you're at like 15, between 15 to 18, you're not even gonna see them. So don't concentrate on your abs or don't work out your abs every day because you want them to show. Focus on your diet. That's where it has to be. Your abs, regardless of whether you're skinny or not, or heavy or not, or muscular or not, your abs are gonna show when you're down between 10 to 15% body fat. They'll have no choice. All right, harsh truth number 7. This I had to learn the hard way. Working out extra hard does not allow you to eat a bad diet. It doesn't make up for a bad diet. And this is really interesting because every night I go out for a walk with my family. And that walk, it's a 2-mile walk around my neighborhood. I gotta do seven laps around my neighborhood. It's 2 miles. And we'll look at the calories burned, and it's, 190 calories. 3 Oreos is 210 calories. So I could be outside walking for an hour with my family, and I will not even have burned off 3 Oreos. Not that I eat 3 Oreos, but that's just the way it works. Working out builds muscle. It makes you muscular, right? It tears the muscle. The protein helps rebuild the muscle, and it builds back bigger than it was. Tear it down again, build it back bigger. You will be muscular working out and eating a lot of protein. That is not gonna make you thin. It's just not gonna. Now, having more muscle will increase your metabolism, which will burn the fat. That's a very long process because I've been doing it for a year and a half and my metabolism has not gone up much. So, but in that aspect, it will work. But if you're like, I didn't make it to, if you're like, it's 3 o'clock, the boys want to go for Taco Tuesday, and I'm gonna wolf down like a bunch of tacos and guacamole and order, a burrito. When I get to the gym tonight, I'm gonna put an extra 20 minutes in and just kill it, right? That's not gonna make up. Sorry, that's not the way it works. So working out and calorie deficit are doing 2 different things. Your food, the kitchen, is what helps you lose the fat The gym, and I know I'm not saying this as good as like some of the other guys would say it, the bodybuilders, but it's the idea. The gym is where you build the muscle. And you need a combination of both to change your aesthetics. All right, harsh truth number 9, I had to learn the hard way. This was a rough one. The most important thing you can do to help yourself in all of this, do you know what it is? It's sleep. Sleep is where you regenerate, you restore, you re-nourish yourself. It's where you grow, it's where you heal, it's where repairs are made in your body. I can't say enough about sleep. You have to pay attention to it. I get up at the crack of dawn every day. When the sun comes up, I just can't sleep, especially in Arizona. And it comes up in the summer at 4:55 a.m., 5:15. Like, it's really early. I gotta put a mask on, otherwise I'll just wake up. And you need to get to bed early, get at least 8 hours of sleep, and get to work and do whatever you do the next day, and you'll be ready to go. You'll be revived, you'll be regenerated. Sleep is where all of that happens. If you have an amazing diet and you work out and kill it every day, and then you stay up till 1 in the morning video gaming or whatever, looking at stuff on the internet, and then you're back up at 6 in the morning for work, you are not gonna have the optimal performance in all of this. You are going to struggle. And it is so hard to get everything done in a productive manner without sleep. So I have a routine every night, right? At 9 o'clock, I stop electronics. Looking at the computer keeps your eyes focused and your mind moving. You're seeing all the different screens and the flashes, and that's no way to start winding down. So at 9 o'clock, no more devices, no more electronics of any kind. That's usually also when we start doing our walk around the neighborhood. So it's a very kind of slow paced walk. We're just walking and chatting, right? I'm not running or anything. I'm just getting some steps in. And then at 9:35, 9:40, it takes about 40 minutes to do the walk. I walk upstairs, I get undressed, brush my teeth, and then I take out my book, whatever I'm happen to be reading. And I'm not a big reader, but reading makes me tired. Currently, I'm reading Robert Cheek's The Impractical Vegan. I love Robert Cheek. I met him in person. He's such a cool guy. He's one of my idols. I've liked him for a long time. So I'm reading that, and look, I'm just kind of reading a few pages. I'll be honest, by the time, it's not Robert's book, by the time I get to the 4th or 5th page, I'm starting to wind down, right? No matter what I'm reading. So that helps me a lot. Sorry, Robert. Having a routine is so important because it tells your body every day, hey, at this time we're doing this. At this time I'm doing this. All right, it's 9:45, I'm getting in bed now. That's what your body expects, right? At 10 o'clock, I'm really tired now. I'm gonna get to bed. And then I wake up at 6 in the morning and I'm ready to go. So sleep, without it, you're just not gonna succeed. All right, harsh truth or reality that I had to learn the hard way, number 9. This is going to take years. It's going to take a long time. I started with a trainer. I walked into the trainer, it was 175 pounds, on December 7th it was the day before my 19th anniversary, December 7th of 2023. Yes, December 7th of 2023. I drive by the same trainer every day going to work, and one day I was just like, I am not getting anywhere, I need help. And I walked in, and he started doing assessment and my body makeup, and got me on the scale, and I was 175 pounds, which was about what I weighed at the time in 2023, and it was almost Christmas, and I'll throw a photo on the screen right here, and he helped me to understand why that was happening, and we started the process. And today, it is a year and a half later, and I'm at 153 something, my lowest weight at this point. I'm shooting for 140-ish. So I'm at this a year and a half, and I can look down and see my belly's still there. This isn't happening tomorrow. If you need to be, if you need to lose 50 pounds over the weekend, this isn't the place for you, right? You need some fantasy land where that'll happen. But in real life, right, you'll see these influencers. I lost 40 pounds in 6 weeks or whatever. First of all, that's probably their whole job, is just being an influencer. Hollywood people do it all the time. That's all they do is work out 8 hours a day, and they've got a diet person following them around, slapping food out of their hands. Like, for those of us who have a job and a family and all that, responsibilities, it's not happening right away. It's going to take years. And I'm okay with that. It took years to build myself to be a fat ass, right? So I don't expect it all to drop off overnight. It needs to be a very slow, continuous, consistent program of burning fat. That's the way it works. So you have to just stick with it. Now, can I see a change? Oh, for crying out loud, yeah. When I stepped on the scale and the trainer did my body fat in 2023, it was 33%. I was embarrassed. It was shocking, right? And today it's 24 point something percent. So I've lost almost 10% of my body fat in a year and a half. So I'm excited about that. Did I expect to be a lot closer to 20? Sure. I told him said I'll give you 4 months to get me down to 20% body fat. And bless his heart, he was like, yeah, well, let's just jump into it. Of course, he's trying to make a sale. But in 4 months, I was not down to 20% body fat. However, I went from 33 to like 29. I went from morbidly obese to average. The average person is, not in shape, but I went to average. So I was pretty excited about that, and that kind of helped me. So it's going to take a long time. You have to be okay with that. Just imagine yourself as, you ever seen that meme or that picture of the fat guy and he's like stone or something, and he's got a hammer and a chisel, and he's just chopping one little piece off at a time, and under it is a muscular body. That's you, right? You've got this outer frame that doesn't really represent how you see yourself in the inside. So every day you're showing up, and that hammer and the chisel's your diet. You're chipping off 1 pound at a time, or 1 pound a week. Every day you're contributing to that, and at the end of a few years, you look completely different. So I would say there's some days when I think, why am I doing this? But most days I'm like, all right, just gotta go back to the grind and pick it back up. I'm gonna be fine. All right, hard truth number 10, progress over perfection. So this one's tough because if we fall or we do something wrong, we automatically want to punish ourselves and think, I'm not good at this. I can't do anything right. Why bother? And that's not the case. If you have one bad meal, pick yourself up and move on. Stop making excuses. I can't tell you how many times I've heard someone say, I can't lose weight, there's something wrong with me, right? My metabolism is broken, right? My body doesn't work the way it's supposed to. Most of the time, that's just bullshit. That's not true. You're making excuses for yourself, and you don't want to put the work in to be in a calorie deficit. Do you remember the show, The Biggest Loser? Right? It was all about getting people on the show, and they would have these trainers screaming at them and fluffing food out of their mouth, and they went from being morbidly obese to being in much better shape over the course of 3 months, and it was really good. And the thing with that show is, when they check on those people 2 or 3 years later, almost all of them gain their weight back. And it's because they never really learned to live in a manner. They had 3 months of intensive training, and then that was it. They never really understood why they gained the weight in the first place. Well, many of them had said the show, they even went to court, I think, the show destroyed their metabolism. The show had them lose weight in 3 or 6 months, and it messed them up, and they're not the same. And they've went home, and they've tried to lose weight, and they can't do it, right? Something inside them broke, and the show broke them. And this was a big deal. Like, people were complaining about this. And then J.D. Ross came along, who's a vegan, and he made this show called The Big Fat Truth. And what he did was he took, 6 or 10 of those people complaining about that, and said, I'm gonna put you on a new show, and we're gonna see if there really is anything wrong with you. I'm gonna ask you to change what you're doing, and you have to be okay with it. And if you listen, at the end of it, I'm gonna give you new training and new education. At the end of it, you're gonna be a different person. And then they came on the show. And what he proved was, first of all, he told, and this was interesting, I don't remember if there was 6 of them or 12, it wasn't like The Biggest Loser, like they didn't get voted off. There was no, we're getting rid of you. You stayed right to the end as long as you wanted to do it. And I remember he told them all, the first thing we're doing is putting you on a plant-based diet. And they were all like, what? And they're all meat eaters. And he said, yeah, for the time that we're here, whatever the show we're on, you'll be on a plant-based diet, we'll be measuring everything. And most of them said, all right, what have I got to lose? And one girl was like, I'm out of here. And she left. So when people are like, I'm broken, it doesn't work. No, that's what she told everyone was, I'm not willing to put the work in to do this, right? So she left. And all of these people were morbidly obese again, right? They all got fat back the way they were before The Biggest Loser. And he worked with them to teach them how to make meals. He only let them work out 1 hour a day. The Biggest Loser had them working out like all day, right? Because the goal of the Biggest Loser was to lose the weight and win the prize. The goal of the Big Fat Truth was to teach them how to live differently and just watch the weight come off as they made the changes. There was no number at the end. They weren't competing against each other. And it was really interesting because they worked out 1 hour a day. They went for walks. They cooked their food. He showed them how to do a plant-based diet. They all now were eating, I hate saying they're eating vegan because vegan is a way of life, but they were eating plant-based, right? And at the end of the show, they all lost the weight again. There wasn't anything wrong with any of them. And they were all like, they were amazing. Now, I would be interested in going back and looking at those people to see if they stayed plant-based or not. And if they did, what do they look like? And if they didn't stay plant-based, they went back to their old meat eating, full of fat and cholesterol and all that, how are they doing today? Were they able to maintain? Or, you know, are they overweight with diabetes and heart disease and all that stuff you get from eating a standard diet? So there's nothing wrong with you, right? Most of you who say this, I mean, medically there might be something wrong with some people, but most of you who say, I'm broken, my metabolism doesn't work, I have a condition where, you know, I have to see a specialist because I don't burn fat, like, no, that's wrong. You're making excuses for yourself. If you want to prove that I'm wrong and that you're right, track your food for a week, like I said. No questions, no like expectations, just track every single thing you put in your mouth for 7 days. And then go and do your TDEE and find out what your maintenance calorie is. And see if you're above your maintenance or below. I have a pretty good feeling you'll be in a state of education when you see all that. All right, final truth number 11 that I had to learn. The harsh truth of weight loss and fat loss is weekends are killing your game. And I am the biggest person having a problem with this. I am so good at staying on track Monday through Friday. You don't have to tell me twice. I've got my meals planned for the day. I know exactly what I'm eating. I can stick to that, no problem. When it gets to Saturday, it all goes to hell. Up until recently, I'll weigh myself on a Friday and I'll be like, I don't know, 154. And I'm like, yay. And then Saturday and Sunday will come and I'll weigh myself on Monday, I'm 157. And I'm like, oh man, well, I got to get down to 154 again, then I can start losing weight again, right? So now all week long, I'm watching my food and I'm watching what I eat and I'm staying within my calories. And on Friday, I'm 153.5. And I'm like, yeah. And then Saturday comes and Sunday comes with my family. And then Monday, I'm 155 again, right? And this has happened for so many years. I'm only now focusing on having one meal with my family on Saturday and then Sunday being right on track. And the deal I made with myself is after I eat that one meal on Saturday, I'm not weighing myself Sunday morning because that's when I'm like, oh, I failed and all that. So my deal is I stay on track Saturday during the day. We all go out to dinner on Saturday evening. That's the thing that we do. It's our time to catch up. And, you know, I love my family. I want that time with them. So we'll go to sushi or we'll go to Mexican food or whatever. And it's really hard. With sushi, I can weigh it. It's very simple. But, you know, with Mexican food, it's really hard to start weighing everything. So I just don't track on Saturday. But I try and make sure that I eat my normal protein shakes or, you know, tofu or whatever through the day. And I just have the one meal with my family. I don't stuff myself either. I just go, okay, this is a good place to stop. And I don't weigh myself on Sunday. And doing that, my goal is to start Monday morning at the same weight I ended Friday at. And that kind of has been working. So, and the same body fat too, by the way. Weekends are killing your game. If your life looks like Monday through Friday I'm on track, and Saturday and Sunday it's an all-out blowout, and every Monday I'm back on track, but I'm having to remake up. I'm having to re-lose the weight I gained on Saturday and Sunday. You're not gonna get anywhere. You have to fix that. That's not gonna work. You're gonna spend every week making up for the weekend. It'll be a tireless cycle that will wear you out. And that has happened to me. One of the issues is that, you know, all weekend long, and here's an idea, all weekend long, you're like, well, it's the weekend, I'm gonna have that extra potato, I'm gonna have that extra sauce, all right? So like the dressing, right? Like I was talking about, you go out with your friends, it's the weekend, you have a salad. Normally you get the low calorie soy dressing at, Mad Greens, which is 100 calories. But they've got that, that beautiful ranch dressing that you want. Let's say it's vegan, right? And it's 500 calories. Well, you're like, hey, it's the weekend, I'm still eating a salad, I'm good, I'm gonna use that dressing. Now you've got 400 more calories, right? That automatically puts you at maintenance now. You're not even in your calorie deficit. And then you're having a cookie and a brownie or something you might not have eaten. And then everyone's like, well, let's go for beers. And like, I have 2 Miller Lights or whatever. So you go for a beer. And now you're at like 700 or 800 calories over the 500 deficit. So now you're, 200 to 300 calories in a surplus. Do you see how that's a mess? And all weekend long that can screw you up? Here's what I would do. If I was gonna go on a weekend binger with someone, right? I would eat at maintenance. So I have a 500 calorie deficit every day. If I wasn't able to keep that 500 calorie deficit, I would say, all right, I know my maintenance is 1,700 calories. I can eat at maintenance over the next few days. Then I won't gain any weight, right? Which is the case. So I can make 500 extra calories work for me each day. That's no problem. So think about it that way. You don't always have to be in a calorie deficit. You do to lose weight, but if you just don't want to gain any weight, like on the weekend, I'm not trying to lose weight on the weekend. I just don't want to gain any weight on the weekend, right? If I can just not gain weight, I'm good on Monday. I'll just pick it up where I left off on Friday. So I can do that by increasing my calories to maintenance. The other way is, the calories are over a week. So when I went to the trainer, he was like, you're gonna eat 10,700 calories a week. And that worked out to 1,400 calories a day. At the end of the week, it didn't matter if I had 1,400 calories each day, or if I had 2,000 calories one day, and then had less calories Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and at the end, it was still 14,700 calories. It didn't matter as long as I stayed on the calories. So if you know you're gonna have extra calories on the weekend, instead of eating my 1,200 calories during the week, I know this sounds harsh, but I'll eat, I don't know, 1,000 calories all week. Now I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, I've got like a bunch of extra calories I could eat, or I'll do 1,100 calories or 1,150. I'll short it each day, and on that, whatever day of the week that I'm going out on Saturday or Sunday, I've got those extra calories, right? So there are options for you. The goal is, at the end of the week, not to eat in excess or in a surplus, because a surplus, you're gaining weight. So try and that's why it's all math. You have to look at it as all math. I used to suck at math until I became a math teacher, and then I got better at it. Now I'm a computer science teacher, but now I love math. So it is all about math. Weekends are killing your gains. You have to live every day, not just Monday through Friday, like you're making a difference. One whole cheat day will set me back 4 to 5 days on my journey. And it's happened many times. Don't let that happen to you. All right, that's our video for today. I had to learn all of these the hard way. It was so frustrating over a year and a half. Did you have to learn these? Let me know in the comments below. Do you have any comments about some things that you've had to learn the hard way that I didn't cover? Maybe we'll do another video on those too. Let me know in the comments below. All right, hit that like button, show us some love. Click on the subscribe button, click on the bell. You get notified every time we have a new video, usually every Tuesday. Don't forget to leave a comment below. Check out the podcast that Deb and I do in Plant-Based Besties. It's just 2 old people who are vegans talking about aging and protein and trying to live a lot longer. We want to be around for a long time. All right, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.